Hey everybody, it's Paul Ramsey, and I am joined today by Fredric, who is presenting a 2-hour workshop on Saturday, August 12th at 9 a.m. He's going to be talking about genes, memes, and epigenetics, which I have to say, Fredric, I like to geek out a little bit once in a while, so I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. How are you?
I am doing great, Paul. How are you today?
I'm outstanding, man. I'm looking forward to speaking with you. We haven't met before, so the first thing is I want to know how you got into hypnotism. Tell me your story.
I lost a card game with the devil, and it just all kind of played out that way. Uh, Actually, I got laid off from my corporate job because they laid everybody off and closed the office down. Started doing some consulting work, and ended up running into a guy that owned a hypnosis place. He told me he said, "You ought to come work with me. You'd be great." And I was like, that is completely crazy. But I thought, that'll be fun at parties, and it totally is. So I figured since I was doing a little consulting work, I would go learn to do it. And honestly, I fell in love with it. It helped me with some pain alleviation at the time. I just loved it. So I got trained, got certified, eventually essentially bought the practice, heard about the guild, and figured that was the big dog out there and I would be involved with them. Got more training, more certification with the guild. Eventually I was seeing more and more clients, and I decided that with serious issues, so I decided to up my game, and I went and did what I needed to do to get my licensed professional counselor license.
Oh.
So I'm a board certified hypnotherapist, and I'm also a national credentialed counselor. So I'm actually a licensed mental health professional.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of the history.
So so we've got some hypnosis, some hypnotism going on, some counseling going on. Why, of all the different things that you've probably learned and studied to get to that place, have you chosen to talk about genes, memes, and epigenetics? Why is this topic important to you?
It was such an astounding thing when I ran across this. The research comes out of biochemistry basically in 2004, so we're talking about something that's really new. We've known for a long time about inheritance with genes, and then we've also known about passing on emotional information, means the stories that we tell ourselves. But epigenetics is something completely different. It is a chemical, non-genetic process for inheriting sort of emotional outlook, emotional orientation. And that's just astounding. The idea that something that happens to one of your ancestors emotionally can affect you, and we're not talking about just like family stories. We're talking about something that's hardwired into your body is amazing.
Yeah.
And so when I first ran across this, I was like, this is important. People need to know about it.
Yeah. So if people come and they spend these 2 hours with you, they're going to learn the process of epigenetic methylation.
Methylation, yeah.
They're going to construct an appropriate hypnotic metaphor and technique to improve emotional health and reduce methylation. They're going to learn how to construct more healthy ways to understand their personal family histories. And they're going to learn how to apply that information to their marketing to healthcare providers and potential clients. So definitely you've created some great learning objectives here. People really know that they're going to be doing and learning specific things. And then that last one I love, that then they're going to also learn how to market it so they go back and they can hit the ground running when they get back to their practice, right? And start to implement and make a difference in their bottom line.
It is a huge message of hope for your client. And that is the thing that most attracts me to this. That is a giant message of hope. I appreciate you reading my objectives. I just want to point out that it's going to be a lot more fun than the first couple of them sound. But there will be very solid information there that's available for people. I'll work on putting the cookies on the bottom shelf, making the complex understandable. So I want people to have very good, solid, empirically verified, accurate information.
Yes. Yeah,
there you go.
I appreciate that. As a former teacher, I just love when people have good learning objectives in their session outline. So I just appreciate that. And I always try to include those so that people know clearly you've really thought this out and you have a clear sense of where you want to go and what you want to do. And I think people are going to be well served in their 2 hours here. This is really important stuff. Tell me about, if you can, some kind of a story or what I often refer to as a light bulb moment of, as you grew through your practice and you discovered this topic, was there a sort of key moment or a great example of how knowing about this stuff really advanced your success, your efficacy as a hypnotist?
I've had a number of clients who come in with real despair because, this is run in my family, and, my father did this and my grandfather did this. And I had seen that for years. People have come in with that sort of, almost like it's fate, like it's destiny. And when I recognize what's happening with epigenetics, I realize what they're saying is true, but it's not permanent.
Right.
That change can happen here, and the change happens at a chemical cellular level. The changes that we create through hypnosis, through counseling, through therapy, things that reset people to a better emotional state, actually alters the methylations, the word you use that I had for my objectives, but alters chemically what's going on in the way the genes are affected. So it may be that your great-grandfather or great-grandmother had a really stressful, abusive life and all this trouble and trauma and horror, and that you epigenetically inherited, important, not genetically inherited, but epigenetically inherited, kind of an emotional framework that makes you more susceptible to that kind of trauma in your life. But that can all be cleaned up. Not just metaphorically, not just the story, not just the memes,
right,
but in reality, altering what you would pass on to children that you have.
Yeah.
At a physical level.
Right.
Does that help?
Oh, it totally makes sense to me. But again,
I love the light. I love the message of hope that, I get it that this was a problem in your family in the past. Let me share something with you that's going to give you real hope.
Yep. And I think that you've really articulated it quite nicely. I mean, how often do we have clients who come in that have this feeling of, that it's just out of their control? That's like one of the biggest themes, right? Is, my mom had it, my dad had it, my grandpa had it. It's just in our family and there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah.
I can remember one woman that I sat down and I showed her essentially I showed her one of the pictures that I'll show in my presentation that just sort of illustrates very simply, easily, very graphically how this process functions. And she almost teared up. I mean, I could just see her sitting here in the chair right here in the office. And she was just like, I am so glad you told me that for the first time, I really believe something can be different. Yeah. And I was like, yes, because that is huge. Yeah. When your client believes that they can be helped, they can be helped. Yeah. So, there's the thing.
Yeah. Just shifting that expectancy. Yeah. That's great. Good for you. Mm-hmm. Well, listen, this is great. And I think you've covered it very nicely, and I don't want to push you to give away the content. I want people to come and spend their 2 hours with you. But if people are really interested in this, and they just want to look around a little bit more before the convention, what's a way that they could learn more about you and what you do?
Watermarkcolumbia.com is my website. If you click on About Me over on the left-hand side, you can find a lot about my history, background, my orientation, my theoretical orientation as far as how I work with clients. I've got a couple of books. One of them is Emotion, the Power of Change, a science-based approach to Ericksonian hypnosis. And the other one is A Different Reality. That is actually a 6-session protocol for helping people with stress and anxiety. Cool. Both of those are available on Amazon.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, just one last recap. Just remember, Saturday, August 12th at 9 a.m. This is a 2-hour. All right, this is a 2-hour workshop with Fredric. And Fredric, thank you so much for making this time for me. I really appreciate it.
Paul, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you doing this. I appreciate you doing it for the NGH. So thank you very much.
All right, I'll see you in August, okay?
Great. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.